Crisis.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 37 of the Mid-Geek Crisis. My name is Joe, and the Afroman, and my partner in crime.
Cautious, Pedro online.
Hey guys, so we're back for the week. Thanks for listening to the previous episode. We're going to kind of run right in. We don't have too much this episode. We're going to make it a little short one. We're busy. Some life changes are going on, and I'll talk about that at the end of the,
all right.
the episode
Cool.
for sure.
I didn't know how much was top secret and how much we need to.
None of it is now. It's a bead to the wall, man. So we're ready to go. So we'll talk about it later. I wanted to jump into a quick story, and then maybe that'll fire off the thrusters for us. It was a long 4th of July weekend. We all got to play some games, devour some geek TV for sure.
Yeah.
Stranger Things came out this weekend, so that's something that I devoured.
And to the surprise of no one, I've seen only one episode. Right.
Woo!
That's the way we work here at
continuity.
For
Sure.
I am consistently behind.
Behind for sure. And that's okay. That's what makes us what.
I just saw Shazam. That's how far behind I am. I just saw Shazam.
So did you watch it before last episode or afterwards? Just recently?
I watched it this weekend. I don't remember when.
All right.
Saturday or
we
Sunday.
Can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So fair enough. I'm going to fire off with a story that I thought was really interesting and probably near and dear to our hearts as gamers. We all like to buy things on sale.
Mm-hmm.
We all like to bargain shop. I'm a big follower of Wario64 on Twitter. He is probably like the biggest game sales Twitter, whatever guy on the web. I mean, the moment a sale happens, he's like first to let you know. Whenever something's back in stock or whatever, he's like boom right at it. He tends to even beat Cheap Ass Gamers tweet account. He used
Which
to
I've used on the occasion I was looking for a cheap
right. So he used to run that account, and then I think they separated many years ago, like about 4 or 5 years ago now, and so he ran his own, and so he kind of took a lot of followers with him. And the forces he follows or whatever, he is so fast. It's ridiculous. I don't know.
I assume he's a bot.
Almost a joke. It's almost a joke that he's a bot, but he's not.
Yeah.
Like he replies back to you and stuff. So it's
all right.
His tweet skills are fantastic.
He must have some sort of crawler, and then
he will. We'll be watching like the Xbox event or Sony or whatever, and he will post clips or he will be watching it, and like they'll make a comment, and he'll already have like an animated GIF created and posted on the tweet before my feed might come up.
Sounds like somebody released a super AI intelligence.
He's a scary fast tweeter. But like I said, if you don't follow him, he's at Wario64 at Twitter. He's fantastic. Again, check him out. Put him on notification if you're a guy that likes to buy games or gaming paraphernalia or accessories or whatever. You're looking for a deal, he's the guy to go to. But that said, he also does post some places like this, and either Green Man Gaming, GMG as it's known on, and this one, G2A, which is considered one of the more sketchy of them. So as a PC gamer,
say less reputable.
Less reputable would probably. That's sketchy. Let's just call him sketchy.
Let's just call him sketchy.
Yeah,
but it's no Pirate Bay of yours.
It's not right. So as a consumer. I am still spending money. So it is a way for me to feel like I am doing the right thing.
Like actual cash. It's not like the transaction has to happen in Bitcoin or something.
Right. No, it's PayPal or credit card or whatever method. I'm paying someone and they're giving me a product. So I'm not stealing anything. The problem is a lot of these websites, the way they get their keys, their bulk keys for resale are, who knows? We don't know where they come from. So I've read before that what they'll do is they'll buy a big bulk of keys from the developer in a country. Since these games aren't region locked, they'll buy them in a country with like American money or dollar, and a country where the dollar's worth more, and then they'll resell them at the dollar value or whatever. So they're able to kind of get
sounds like a good deal. Sure,
whatever. It's a way. So you'll buy like a Russian key, and you input it into your Steam account when you buy it. You redeem key, and there you go. You get the Steam copy, and it's yours permanently. But you only paid $11 versus like $42.
Right.
So that said, BBC News put up an article yesterday, which it's kind of been common, but a lot of indie developers are basically telling you, hey, just pirate our game. We prefer for you to pirate it versus buying it through these means, because these guys are already stealing it and they're making money off of it, and we're not making any money off of it.
So I thought they got a percentage.
Some do. That's what I'm saying. Is GTA defends itself and says that they do make some sort of cut, but I mean, we've got all sorts of developers from multiple games, from Nightmare Reaper, and we've got one from Overworld, and a couple other ones that they're just like, to quote Overworld, the Overworld Twitter account, Overworld Theme, says, please do not buy another star. It's one of their other games, another star from a third-party reseller. Those are stolen codes, and I don't see a penny from them. At least have the dignity to pirate the game instead if you're going to shortchange me.
So why would that be? Why would that be better for them? I mean, essentially buying a stolen code would be the same as pirating it, right? I mean,
the only difference is they hate the fact that someone else is making money off the game.
So someone
would rather be like, you're going to steal it. No one makes money. You buy a stolen key.
Except the pirate site that's running advertisements, but that's a whole different.
That's a whole different thing. Well, depending on how you pirate.
Right.
Wait, we're not going to talk about that here in this podcast.
Because we're all fully compliant, law-abiding citizens who do not pirate.
Let me turn off my torrents real quick.
You gotta turn them off before we stream. How the feds find you?
Guys, this episode is brought to you by NordVPN. NordVPN. If you're not using a VPN, you should be.
You should be. Well, that's definitely true. You definitely should be using a VPN, because otherwise the federales will find you.
Absolutely. They kick down your door, ICE style.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just saying.
Too soon. Topical, but too soon. Topical, but too soon. So, like, I mean, it's interesting, right? I feel like... I don't want to say since the beginning of time, developers have been fighting this.
Piracy, right? Of course. If you're not familiar with MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer on YouTube, if you haven't, go check him out. I'll link him. I will link him. He's a fantastic dude. Fantastic guy. And he's got a great channel where he talks about a lot of old school stuff, retro, but not, he doesn't talk about retro, but one of the big things he talks about is the fact that he was one of the guys in the scene breaking
he's breaking games.
He used to break code and break piracy schemes. And his favorite thing is to talk about how like the release scene did all of this because, and then he doesn't justify it, but he really enjoyed the cat and mouse aspect of it. And he talks a lot about like the copy protection on a lot of the big consoles and how it was broken and what caused it. Just a very in-depth, very technical. Consoles, yeah, great guy. But he talks about how some of the older PC games and the method of pirate copy protection they took, floppy disk and, even manual, where you look through the manual and find the one phrase.
Dude, I had a photocopy. I think it might have been King's Quest Part 2, because it was like you had to like look at the third word on page 42.
Right. Carmen Sandiego had that too.
Which is almost the same as like buying a key. I had the game because I downloaded it off of a bootleg website, or I had a disc. I had a floppy disk and a photocopy, and I paid the guy like $3 for it. Right. I was just like, here we go. This is what you do with computers.
Or he would talk about how some developers or some cracking scene groups would go through the code and rip out that part of the game or rip out that part, so it would edit it so that it wouldn't have that.
Thank you to them, because I had games and it got.
It would say type in whatever word, and it didn't matter what word you typed in.
They just needed input. I remember because there was a point in which they started getting really frustrating to get past, right? Because you're like, I want to play this game, but I have to find the rule book. Mom, where'd you put the rule book for, this? And you're just like, this. So I wound up like buying games and then eventually downloading the cracked versions because I just got tired of the copy protections, right?
Right.
It wasn't. Did he? I guess it was called copy protection because back then it was easy to copy a game. It wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, you use
like
copy disk and a couple of copy disk X and a couple other ones out there that existed, and it would go through, and those applications would get updated, and you'd find. But the thing was, there was no internet, or if there was internet, you was very limited. So you would get that program to make your copies from someone else.
Physically, now it's like you can get them right online, and
you just how to crack. Boom, enter. Tons of pop-ups. Your computer's messed up, but you get your game.
You got to find the actual correct link in a page full of trap links.
What I find interesting, and again, I know we're going into a weird subject, but we're old guys, and again, we talk about how much money.
This is the Mid-Geek crisis. Anyway. That's what we do. Yeah,
we talk about, but the idea of just doing that whole downloading, and there's always a new method of like piracies from Google Drive, which is kind of the newer ones, to you create Google Drive accounts and you drop files on there and you share them.
Don't reveal the secrets.
I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. The secret text. There's all sorts of methods, from torrents to links to all sorts of stuff to particular file. File download sites for big files or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's all fine, but the one that I feel that's interesting, that's still used, by the way, and a lot of the older guys that I know that still do it, and they're like, oh yeah, I downloaded this movie, and they're like, oh, I never get any messages or anything. It's because they still use news groups.
Love it.
News groups are still a thing. They're still around, and they pay like a certain amount for access for a news group server a year. And they pay like $20-$30 a year.
I can't believe you're revealing the secrets.
You know what? I can tell you.
Can't do anything about them.
Not only can you not do anything about them, I would dare anybody to go out there right now and try to figure out how to do news servers now. It's not easy. You've got to get all sorts of programs, like Tor programs, to put together the PAR files, the PAR files, to put them together, to parse them. And then once they're parsed, it made the whole file. But if you didn't, it was a mess. So
I got a headache just thinking about it.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't even figure it out. You want some folks, I won't name them, still do it on USBs, right? So that's still you still do it this way, and it's often because a lot of these things are subscription based, and you have to sign up for the subscription before you even know what the program's like, whether or not you want to use the program.
Right.
Because back in my day, we used to get shareware. We used to be able to test it out before we bought the full version. So yeah.
I mean,
I feel the struggle for these developers, but I think also it's always been this way. It's a weird kind of it's more now. It's worse, right? So it's
worse, and not so here's my come back full circle to the modern times is he's saying, don't pirate our games or whatnot. Please don't. We're trying to make money.
But also don't buy them for these websites.
Also don't buy them from these websites. And I'm not saying that everyone has the money that I have. I'm not rich or anything, but I feel like indie titles in general are the ones that get the bigger sales. Like every time I look at Humble Bundle, or I look at the Steam sale, 75% off, etc. I look at these games, and it's always the indie developers, and you'll get these games that these guys have spent probably years working on, multiple years, because they're not a big studio. 4, 5, 6 years, $11. I think Guacamelee 2 is on sale right now on the Xbox Live Store. Not outside the patch, just buy the game outright. Part 2 is like $15 right now. $15 for a complete game, a game that's going to give you 30 plus hours of gameplay. And I think this is because indie titles are seen as budget titles and not just games, which aggravates me. But then it's also that app mentality where you go on your phone and you buy a game, and it's either free or it's 99 cents to $1.99.
Right. The price points have to be, if it's $4.99, it better be mind-blowing.
Right. So, but that's what I'm saying. I remember buying Doom 2 on floppy for $40 at a store, going to Babbage's in the mall and getting my copy. And I was like, yes, I got it. And, because I had copies of it, but my disc got corrupted. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go buy it. I remember buying my copy of this game, and I was so excited. I owned a copy of it. But at the same time, I was I paid $40 for this game, and that was the price of a new game back in the day. With inflation, it's $60.
It's interesting because I feel like again, computer games have always been that way, right? There's always been the big studios. I mean, the studios have changed since we were kids.
No, Westward. Remember Westward Studios, the
Yeah,
makers of like Dune and
Dune
like Command and
2000.
Conquer and
Phenomenal, and those were full price games, right?
Blizzard with Warcraft and
But there was a lot of direct you can get for $1, $2, $5,
yeah, you got
and
the
those
bargain
were
bin right at the checkout at EB. There was the big boxes and they had like all the Apogee titles.
yeah, those were cheap, and so there is totally two markets, and a lot of it I think is distributor pressure, right? So like EA is going to try to keep their games at the high price point
For a while.
Sure, for as long as they possibly can, especially on the digital store, like Microsoft Store. That game, I'm like, how is Assassin's Creed the Roman version still full price? How is that possible?
Right, when you can go to Best Buy
for
and buy it for like $12, right?
Crazy. And so, but I still won't do it, right? Because I can't buy a physical product anymore. I'm incapable of doing it. But you can't take it with you. Why am I going to buy it in physical form? But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's been around forever, and even I have to overcome that that mentality. Like I look to the Xbox store all the time, and I'm like, $10. How good could this game possibly be? Right? Like I'm totally
sometimes you find, and that right there is the perfect reason why we constantly on this show shill for Microsoft and the Game Pass, because there's a lot of these games, while they might be $5, $3, $2, they're put up for free, and then we end up playing them, and then we're like, oh my god,
this game was great.
This game was great. I probably would have given them more money, but because of the amount of games out there, I never got a chance to play it. So,
never, and my gaming budget's limited, right? If I have $60 a month for a game, that's like one new game a month. Am I going to buy 3 indie games that might give me 30 hours, or a big box game that I got to play because everyone else is playing it, right?
Right.
I know which way I go. Guacamelee 2 is actually a great example of this, right? Like, I would never have bought it because I really enjoyed 1, but where I am in my life, a heavy, deep platformer like that, I just don't have the time to dedicate to getting good at, right?
Right. And that is definitely a get good game because
that's a get good game because when you die a lot, you're frustrated and you know why, and you're like, it's because I suck. I just
you spent $40 on the game, and all you want to do is like throw the controller and say, forget this, and then you put it in the back burner.
90% of the enjoyment, right? So I downloaded it because it's on Xbox Pass, right? So I was like, you know what? Let me see if it's as good as the first one. It is. It's as good as the first one. It's also hilarious. And B, have you tried couch co-op on it yet?
I have not. Only because my kiddo in platformers is instant rage button.
I'm gonna tell you right now that one of the things they did in this game, which I'm like, every game should do this. If you push both bumpers as another player, you turn into a ghost. So you don't have to do the jumping.
They pulled the they did the
it's like a Mario. I feel like
Mario Brothers Deluxe or whatever, they do that. So there's a button that puts you in a little bubble, and then to get them to release them, you have to like
someone has to punch them.
Yeah.
So someone has to successfully do the jump puzzle.
Right, and if both of you end up in bubble form at the exact same
you get reset back to the beginning.
Right.
Just like the mechanic in Guacamelee too. And so what happens with R when we play, she goes into ghost mode. I get to fight the struggle of seeing the jumps. She gets to watch me enjoy the challenge of it, right? So sometimes she tries, and then when she can't do it, she's like, okay, ghost time. And she totally says, she's like, ghost time, I'm going into ghost time. And then she enjoys it. And then the minute we go into a room where there's monsters, she reappears and she helps me fight them. And we got into this area where we had to work together to defeat a bunch of monsters. We must have died like 30 times in a row. And usually that would frustrate her because she's 5 and she hates to lose, right? She was having a blast because she like got it. And it wasn't a frustrating jump puzzle, which she's not quite ready for with the big controller. And she actually figured out that if she went to ghost mode right before she got hit by the boss, she's essentially saving us because I'm doing a great job dodging the attack. She's doing a terrible job. So she's like, okay, punch, 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 ghost mode. Coming back, punch, 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 ghost mode, right? So she totally figured out a different way of doing the game. So so I recommend it, man. If you teach the boys to do ghost modes, you can play 3 players, and you can have the fun of that platformer.
Might have to do that.
Yeah, your frustration might be if they keep trying to do jumps, but then they're learning, right? That's part of the fun as well.
And your characters they clip through each other, right? They walk
right through each other. They don't bump.
That's all I want.
they did everything, and they not only do they not clip to each other, if they don't break each other's combos. So like if we're both punching the same target, our combo number is jumping up as if we hit the monster twice. So it's very generous.
Oh, that's good.
Immensely generous. In
yeah. So games
all buffs are bought. They're all shared. So if I'm building my talent tree, because Guacamelee 2 has a talent tree, whatever I buy, she gets. So like if I get the uppercut, she gets the uppercut. If I get the super uppercut,
oh, that's great. That's great.
So there's no like interplayer competition. In fact, like it actually is like, oh, are you better? Great. Everyone can go, so you could do the jump puzzle, right? Or oh, I need to go for a second. You go into ghost mode, and the other two guys can play. And she's figured out that like if I die while she's in ghost mode at the wrong time, then we got to start over. And she's like, oh yeah, I was in ghost mode. Sorry, Daddy. Like I'm like, why were you in ghost mode? So it's great. I love it. It's a ton of fun. I recommend it. Play with. I think 3 players would be insane because I think they add more monsters. So you're just gonna like a screen full of beast and but it's
it tweaks itself. It like up and down.
I think it does. I don't know for sure, but I've tried to beat some of the fights by myself when she's in it, like she's just in ghost mode the whole time. And I don't want to say I'm good at this game. I'm not amazing, but I'm good. Like I can get 100 hit combos, right? I can do that. Some of the battles, I'm just like, there's just too many. It's like I gotta shift worlds. I gotta do all this stuff. It's not, and it's just hard. It's challenging in its own good way, and it's hilarious. It's a hilarious story. I love the chicken. I love transforming into a chicken. Every time I transform into a chicken, it's great. It's just as good as I get. And then I do boyo every time I do the charge attack with the chicken. It's great.
Guys, if you're not familiar with Guacamelee, please go play the first one. Go play the second one. It's constantly on sale.
It's a Metroidvania style game, but it's like smooth, tight. The animation's hilarious. The jokes are hilarious. There's parts. I mean, and of course, like it's special for me because it's got Spanish. It's multicultural. It's got hilarious, respectful, hilarious jokes about it. And some of them you'll be like, ooh, that joke feels a little not okay, but it is okay, right? There's part of it that makes it okay where you're like, wait, no, this is celebrating the culture and not just making fun of it. So it's it's interesting, it's good. Because like one of the characters is named Tostada. Usually I would be like, that's not funny, but it is funny. Like
it's funny.
It's like it is funny.
And Tostada, if I remember, she's pretty awesome.
She's pretty dope.
She's awesome.
She's like quiet and sarcastic. It's great. So, and a great couch playing game that's super forgiving to folks who don't like platformers but like punching things. So you can always come in now. So
nice.
Speaking of indie games that are worth full price, that you should not buy the keys and ruin these developers' day. Guacamelee's there, and it's on Xbox Pass.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things that again, I'm going to get off my Xbox Pass high horse here, but this is where PC could benefit from a service like this. Well, I get that PC sales are so cheap and everyone buys everything on Humble Bundle and all that kind of stuff, and they pay like $3 for 50 games because they feel morally superior, and that's fine, you know.
That's just 50 games they're not going to play.
The 50 games they're not going to play and add to their Steam library that they're already going to play. I get it. Whatever. But my point is, just give them a little bit more money. Go to a different store. Like, go. Humble Bundle is definitely. I mean, it's owned by IGN now. They do deals with publishers. They give to charity. Just buy a Humble Bundle. Buy from places like that. Don't buy from places where the prices are in like yen, and then you have to hit the translation on the top.
You know it's scammy. Like, even though you're paying a PayPal with US dollars, there's something shady about the
price. I mean, I guess the moral high ground for you is like, I'm paying for this. I wash my hands of the fact that I pirated. I didn't pirate it. My key is redeemed on Steam in my legit store. But how many of those keys did you get from places that probably stole those keys to begin with? So, and those guys, the foreign sites and the GTA places make all the money, and the developers don't make a cent from it. So while it might be the most popular game on Steam right now, they realize they've only sold like 100 copies and 5,000 people are playing it because there was a deal on GTA that sold the game.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even, that's
what I'm saying. Like, think about the numbers. The numbers are completely skewed because Steam gives them the amount of players that are playing this game and how many keys are redeemed. But then they see their profit and they're like,
these numbers don't add up. And then, I guess if you have like an online game, or if you're providing some sort of service in your game, you now have 5,000 people that are playing your game that didn't pay for it.
Didn't pay for it, and then whatever service their server
you didn't see any money for it. Those people did pay for it, but you didn't see any money for it. How do they? I mean, because there's no used games on Steam, right? It's not like I can.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I wish I had more logistics on where they get these keys from or how they come from. But I mean, obviously, this isn't one. There's multiple examples in this article from the BBC that show multiple people.
That's interesting. It's gotta all be shady. Like, how many?
It is, man. It is. And I won't lie, man. I've bought some keys from places like that. Because sometimes I don't have the money. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've never bought a game off of any of those. What I have bought is I've bought like Microsoft, like Windows keys and whatnot, and those are pretty much, they do the same thing. They buy them in like foreign countries.
Those are shady, dude.
Those are totally shady. But you know,
those are shady.
I come from the Mac world where my operating system is free, and when
come on! There's nothing free about a $2,000 computer.
My $2,000 computer's been around since 2012. I don't know. Most PCs don't last about a year, you know. I'm just saying. Let me get off my Mac high horse now.
Oh, lordy.
So paying $15 for a Windows 10 key is definitely better in my budget than paying.
No, that's much better. That is much better. I don't dispute that. That's much better.
So yeah, again, guys, that's the news for that section. Over the weekend, there was lots of things. I had lots of fun with my kids. We did a lot of things. 4th of July was kind of.
You guys do fireworks for 4th of July?
You know, man, like this year,
because in like Texas, you guys you have like artillery and you blast.
Yeah. We can you just like
the oil fields.
I just hand them like an AK-47. Just fire into the air, you know. Bullets go straight up; they never come back down, you know.
Nothing is more American than handing your 10-year-old a Kalashnikov.
That's right.
Weapon of the communist revolution.
We took it from them. Took out the blood of the original soldier it belonged to. Strangled him with his body. We did. So, like, New York, right, has always been a place where any fireworks you had were contraband.
Let's say extremely illegal. And you had to like drive over the border into Pennsylvania, put it in your car, and hope the cops didn't decide to search your car on the way back.
You gotta put them in the cars, buy them, put them, hide them, and then go eat a burger or something. Pull into like a burger place for like an hour and a half, and then pull off. That way, the cop isn't sitting there scoping you. Like,
exactly. I think we did like we would go over the border and then hit like a shopping center and spend like 5 hours in there, and then
and then you'd have a bunch of bags of other stuff, and then, you know, if you were pulled over, they'd be like, "Oh, you just went to the street and buy fireworks."
It's ridiculous. So New York, I don't know, a year ago or 2 years ago, I don't even know when. Someone's going to correct me. I guess you could do sparklers now, and sparkler casts like fireworks, which you'd light them and they burn down and make a shiny light, right? So that's what we did. We did sparklers, and 5-year-olds love it, but the 12-year-old was like, "What is this?
What is this?
And meanwhile, I was standing there with like my sparkler, like, "Where's the Roman candle I could shoot at my brother?" Right? Because that's what we did.
So let's talk about the past and the present now, because I want to know, like, do you have a past with fireworks? Like, what's the
Oh my God!
Was it always going to the?
So my father was. I would have to say probably his most favorite thing about being American was exploding fireworks on 4th of July. Was pounding beers and then shooting off fireworks and then handing fireworks to his sons and being like, "Go play over there. I'm drinking beer and blowing stuff up over here." And like it was like the dirty secret, and I don't even know if it was a secret, but in the Bronx, like you wouldn't set off the fireworks in your apartment building or near your apartment building, right? Because the cops would show up. But Van Cortlandt Park, which is an enormous park, right? You could find a spot in Van Cortlandt Park where you could set off fireworks, and like everyone was setting off fireworks in Van Cortlandt Park. It wasn't. It's like the cops and the firefighters were like, "We can't stop them." So if it was sort of unofficially the place you could do it, we can contain it, right? I don't know. This might have been
that's great. I wonder if it's still that same way.
Van Cortlandt Park is so big, but like the city's changed so much. I have to believe it is, because you still can't set off those fireworks, and I know they do, right? I mean, you hear for the entire month of June, you hear off firecrackers and fireworks being set off.
Yeah.
But my dad, I mean, he would buy those little tanks. Do you remember those little tanks that you'd light them up and it would move forward on some fireworks and then shoot
out the big sparkler and then like pew pew pew, a bunch of little like missiles.
So we would try to set up like forts made of firecrackers so that they would move forward and then shoot the streams onto the firecrackers.
And the firecrackers would explode. That's pretty dope.
And then of course we discovered that you could shoot Roman candles at each other. You play Roman candle tag,
of course,
right? But then you could take those empty Roman candles and reload them with bottle rockets.
Reload them with bottle rockets. That's
So
right.
of course we would then be like, reload, and we'd shoot them.
And I don't know. Do they have the same names? Like I remember there being like Texas tornadoes and all that kind of stuff. Like
I don't remember. I'm sure
they're all made in China.
And they all had like ridiculous names, like
right. But they were
Hurricane Explosion,
right.
5,000.
You know the
exactly.
Yeah.
So we would do that. My dad and all his friends would get slosh drunk. Eventually, the kids are entirely unsupervised, right? And we're just like, they got bored.
You're making like homemade bombs by tying as many together as possible.
How big a hole can we blow up? We would literally dig a hole, put fireworks in it with just the fuse putting out, try to fill the hole just so we can see the like. Because once you collapse in the space, we put them into cans. Bottles, like it just got
glass going everywhere, Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm the same way. So that's fun that you have the same story as me. We have the same thing, here in Texas. I mean, we just go out to the corner and buy them, and depending on what type of family you were the $15 person and spend and get a bunch of like black cats, and that's all you get, or you were like a couple.
It was like your Christmas fucking budget in July.
Yeah, they were like $150 to $300 worth of like fireworks, and they would be the ones that I would envy because I didn't honestly until a teenager ever light my own artillery shell. But here, we have artillery shells, and if you're not familiar with those suckers are they're like grenades about this big, and they come in a big tube, and you get a pack of them, like 7 in a pack, and it's like $40 for those. And then
you load them into like a motor, like a big
tube? Yeah, it's a mortar. It's a mortar. So you drop it into the bottom, and it has a giant wick, and it comes out, and you light it, and it goes boom, and then. So I mean, they're like.
I'm trying to imagine like someone using one of those in the Bronx, right?
So then you start, and then you suicide those. So those are the ones that shoot off. But then what you do is you light it in your hand, and then you're holding it, because that'll blow your hand off. And then you chunk it down your street, and then those things are meant to go in the air because they make giant. So then when that goes on the end of the block, you put your camera on or whatever, and
you're like,
you get like the rain of like of like color in the middle of your street, and that's because you live in a street where you can pop fireworks. Like, right, we can pop fireworks right here, right outside my home, but my parents can't.
That's hilarious.
And so we live in Fort Bend County, and Fort Bend County allows fireworks. Like I can literally step right outside my front door and pop fireworks, and they sell them right at the corner. But my folks live in Harris County, and you can't buy them there. But everyone just drives out to a couple miles down the road and goes and pops them. And they go out to big fields and just go ham.
Tear it up.
Yeah. You see, the July 5th is always hilarious because you go through all the parking lots. And all you see is just the detritus.
I was going to say the broken soldiers, the destroyed carcasses of
the artillery shells, the wrappers, the black cats, the singed concrete, all of it.
My country.
No, it's a beautiful sight. I will say though, I haven't really had that experience with my kiddos. Maybe I'll do it next year, or maybe for New Year's. I did it once with Connell. He was a little younger, and he enjoyed it a little bit, but he was still too young to like really want to go out and do it himself. But I didn't. I had a moment of like I should go do it. I should go, but then I was like, man, we had some news that was going to happen over the weekend. If I spend all that money now, it'll be some. The wife will be like, why did you spend $60 on firecrackers right now? And I'm like, but I want to
the independence of my beautiful country
by blowing a piece of it up.
Boom.
Boom. No, so I didn't get a chance to. So
We were making memories.
Yeah, and then now make them.
And that's. It was interesting to watch R's development. Right, she was like first afraid. She watched the older kid we were with do it, who was as blasé as could be. You know, she's almost a teacher to the older kid, and she was just like, "Here's a sparkler," you know. But the minute R saw that it was safe, all she wanted to do was burn him. Like she was just like, light another one. She did this, and then of course, like I pretended I was like, "Whoa, that's too close," and then she like laughed her ass off and came at me. But I'm like, "Whoa, those are sparklers. Those will burn to the skin." Like,
yeah, there's nothing like flash powder burning, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, it was how you say? It was also like we got to explain some safety rules, right? Don't point it at anybody. Turn it around. Like, you know me.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, that
we had a big pool of water, and I was like, "Oh, if it gets
as
hot,
parents."
Yeah.
As parents, we would say that if you're ever going to use a firearm or any type of sharp object or fireworks with your kid, teach them the safety first before they're going to use them. So come on.
I did that. We went to, I mean, here's a segue, right? So it was great. 4th of July was great. I got to watch it do the sparklers. We hung out. We played some games. It was good. And then we did Salt City Comic Con, which is the big comic.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear about. Let's go into that.
And you know what? Like it's grown immensely over the last couple of years. Did you ever go to one of your?
I went to one of the first few years. I think it's
and that was like small. It was like at the Armory Convention Center.
The Armory Convention Center. It was like they one half of it was still being used by some like shoe convention or something.
And now, I mean, like it's interesting, right? Because they went to the mall last year, and it felt really small in the spaces they were in, but it was spread out because they were in like 5 or 6 different places, right? So it was really weird.
Is that Shopping Town or what?
This year?
No, last year.
Last year it was at the Destiny Mall, but it was at the Embassy Suites. Like it was at the new.
So I don't know about that. They had just opened that.
Yeah. So and then the year before it was actually in I think the Destiny Mall, the new wing of it, which was fine. It worked out fine. It was a little loud that year, and the year after last year was perfect. Not a lot of last year had a lot of vendors. I will say. This year, not as many vendors, which worries me, right? Because these things survive on how many vendors they can get to buy.
Right. Yeah.
You need the vendors.
But they were at the fairgrounds, right?
This year they were at the fairgrounds, so the space was huge.
Yeah.
Right? Big enough, in fact, that I put up some pictures of their Star Wars tables. Those were like big, like 4x6. Dude, just change your shorts, like amazing terrain tables. I mean, the pictures I put together did not change. They had one that was like a full-size Millennium Falcon. It was mind-blowing. And these guys all had painted soldiers, painted Legion soldiers. Right? Star Wars Legion was the game. The thing that made me sad is that most of them appeared to be playing the Imperials. Not many were playing Rebels, which I feel like, I mean, must be the meta, right? Most people are playing... They're probably playing the best soldiers, right? So they're probably playing the best armies for a tournament. But I don't think I could ever play the bad guys. Like I can't play the Imperial. I want to play the Rebels.
You and I are this one of the big agreements. I mean, we agree about a lot of things, but this is one of the ones that we're both like we're on the same side here. Like we have talked about this at end. Star Wars. Like nothing against people that love the Empire. More power.
Yeah, I got something against them. I guess I'm a rebel. I got something against the Empire.
Like I'm trying to say, like I don't hate you for it, but at the same time, I'm like I question the idea. Like, so you do know they are space Nazis, right? Like I'm just we're not hiding it or anything. They've got a logo.
Yes, they've got better fashion sense, but the Nazis had good fashion sense too, right? Like that's Anyway. So Star Wars was a huge presence there, right? So you had Star Wars Legion and what was it called? The fifth soldier, the fifth. Oh man, I'm so bad. But their podcast was there. They were the ones.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
They were doing a great job of running it. They had a nice setup. Actually, I didn't get a chance to talk to them because that's one of the things about taking a kid to one of these things, right? You don't get a chance to schmooze or chat because you got to watch your kid the whole time. But I still had fun. We got to go to all the shops. And I went with a friend, a family friend, and I stopped R in the front lobby right before we walked in, right? And I do this talk with her every time. I'm like, listen, if you get separated from Daddy, because I thought it was going to be more crowded than it was, find someone wearing one of these shirts, right? I pointed to a woman wearing a Salt City Comic-Con shirt, one of the volunteers. And it was great because, and this is one of the things I like about this con because it's small enough, she came right over. And she was like, yeah, you know, if you get lost, we're here, you do this, blah, blah, blah. And then I show her where the bathrooms are. I'm like, listen, if you have to go to the bathroom, this is where they are. So if we're all the way on the other side, don't wait till we're all the way down there. Make sure we come back. So I gave this big speech. And then the guy I was with who had never done a Comic-Con or any con before gives his kids the same speech, which I loved. Right? I'm like, yeah, this is how you do it. And then she had a great time. She got to see the Hulkbuster, which was this big cosplay.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Which was awesome. A lot of Star Wars cosplays. Interestingly, she was into. Oh man, it's. And again, this is where I'm showing my age. It's called Don Gone Jean. It's like a PlayStation video game that was also a manga that involves like 12 kids and there's like a murder mystery. You heard of this? Don Gone Jean? Don Gone Jean. There was a lot of young women dressed in these like Japan. It's kind of like a Persona game. You're familiar with
Persona? Yeah, Persona.
Don Gone Jean, Don Jean Gone, something like that.
It's a Vita.
It was a Vita, and then it's now on the PlayStation 4. But there was a huge crowd of folks. Apparently, this is big for cosplay because it's like 12 different teenage characters, and they all have very distinct personalities, and they call them uniforms for their school, even though each uniform is very unique for the character, right? But R loved them. Like every girl she saw dressed up in one of these costumes, she made me go up and ask, like, what show are you from? The
mascot is like a little bear, right? With like a black.
Yeah, it's Little Bear. That's it. You got it. Yeah.
I know. And I know the younger folk that watch our show are gonna be like, it's that, and I'm like, I have never played it, but I know it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I imagine it's the same way like my dad feels when I'm all like, well, that's Pikachu, dumbass. Like it's totally like, it's totally, and that's the experience I had at this show, right? Because I'm like, I used to know all the nerd things, and now, I don't know all the nerd things.
As long as we can still look at it in the endearment of like, that's cool. Like they've moved on. I didn't want to ever feel like I don't want to gatekeep, right? Like, oh, my geek is better than your geek, and I'm like, come on.
No. And their cosplay costumes were really cool, and it's clear they're having a great time in their cosplay costumes. And I love seeing those teenagers in the cosplay costumes. Like, she made me go up to these, frankly, like young women and be like, oh, what show are you from? And then I look at my daughter to be like, I'm not a creeper. Like my daughter wants to know. It was like sad. Like there's no other way to do it. But my 5-year-old doesn't. She wants to know, but she doesn't have the courage yet to ask. So I'm trying to emulate the kind of courage you should have at Comic-Cons, which is we're all with family. You should be able to ask and show an interest.
Yeah, and cosplayers love it.
And they love it. And they want to
show and they're like, oh, and they'll do the pose and whatever, and like, you want to take a picture. And
every single one of them was immediately like, do you want to take a picture? And I'm like, do you want to take a picture? And she's like, no. And she's very polite, my daughter. She's like, no, but thank you. Like she's like super polite and super shy. And of course, like this young woman is there with her parent, right? Her mom. And her mom's like, I've got the name. Like I asked her, I was like, oh, what was the name of your character? And she told me the name, and sadly I forgot. But the mom's like, that's the only thing I know for sure is my daughter's name, right? Like she doesn't get it, but she's there with her kid doing that, and I'm there with my kid doing it. And that's the nice thing about this Comic-Con. It's small enough you can have that enjoyment. And then there was a Smash tournament up on the Jumbotron? Up on the Jumbotron, up on the rafters, which is pretty cool, man. That's like it was fun, like watching
Smash Brothers, man.
Smash Brothers are the big thing.
Is always a big deal.
And there's a Smash Brothers Open tournament in Syracuse at the end of the month for $1,000 prize. Like, and it's at the local bowling alley, right? So again, this is
a couple of our listeners just did a tourney.
That's awesome. So I gotta say,
it plays pretty big too. They think in the top 10. They're top 3 and 8 or 9 or 10, 10th and 3rd.
Do you even gold, bro? I don't. I don't gold. I have no idea how to play. I don't want to bring back this theme, but it's amazing to me that they're holding Smash tournaments that give dollar prizes at a bowling alley, dude. Like bowling alleys is where people used to go to do like
Bowl.
social events. Yeah, but it was a social. It was bowling, but it was a social event.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Even the Big Lebowski, they didn't go to bowl. They went there.
Well, that's smart for the bowling alley.
It
The
is.
bowling alley is going, you know what? Bowling isn't attracting things, but we've got a venue. We've got arcade machines. We've got like a food court. We've got like all this stuff. Let's use our powers for good and go.
Let's bring these kids in, and then these kids might, as a lark, after the bowling tournament, after the Smash tournament.
Oh, they'll all want to bowl in their cosplay. They'll like show up in cosplay, put on bowling shoes, and I would love to see Pikachu freaking roll a bowling ball. You know,
I might have to go because they totally have spectator seating. So because the woman was telling me about it. She's like, "Do you play Smash?" I'm like, "Lady, I haven't played Smash since the first one. Like, like, do you see me?" I am an old man who is made of thumbs, right? Like, I can't play that game and compete. But she's like, it's only $5 to enter. You can have a great time. I'm like, can I watch? Because that feels like more my speed. And then there were streamers there, right? So they had some folks walking around with cameras.
Yeah. We're used to that, but going to PAX. But it's nice to see the big PAX experience in a small.
Dude, it's just one small room. You actually get to see all the vendors. I probably could have chatted up a few. Like, I talked to a few, but eventually R just got bored of standing at the table watching her dad have fun. So she had to ruin that by walking away, right? That's what that's what these kids do. Because I was like, let's sit down and play. Even Smash I was willing to play. She would be like, okay, I sit down, I get it, I start it, I can pick the characters, and she's like, eh. And I'm like, where are we going?
So that's interesting because that's that type of I've taken my kiddo to a couple of places with cosplayers now, and he is fearless for that kind of stuff, and he walks up to everybody. Connell, my oldest, and he knows exactly what to say to them. He's like, "Hey, that's a pretty cool Spider-Man," or "Hey, who are you? Can I take a picture?" Okay, and then he poses with them or whatever. You know,
he knows what he's doing. Yeah, Connell's always been fearless, man. Connell will wrestle a dragon.
It would be great having R and Connell at a convention.
That's what I need. I need like an example of someone who's outgoing and is going to blow up
which she can follow suit.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then, speaking of Connell, right? There was a lot of spider people.
Yeah. Well, the costume has become kind of the new thing to get. Like about 4 or 5 years ago, they were expensive, but now they're getting mass produced. So they're like the stretchy costumes. You find them cheap now, like $40, $50, $60, depending on the quality you want, and they look great.
And these characters look like that. And then, some people do cross characters so that there was like a black cat Spider-Woman, right?
Yeah, and Spider-Man, I mean, come on, in the multiverse, Spider-Verse, whatever.
So this is what warmed my dark heart, like just a little frost melted. Because ours like, is that Spider-Girl from the multiverse? And I'm like, oh God.
Oh, Gwen.
She's learning.
Boom, boom. That's it. That's your quota for the week.
Yep, just one. It was great. The only big disappointment I had is that for Comic-Con, there's only one vendor selling comics. Right? There were comics that were there, like Larger Than Life Games were there, Play the Game, Read the Story was there. They sell comics, but like Cloud City Comics wasn't there, right? And they're the local comic book store downtown. So that it tells me that maybe the vendors aren't making much money at these cons.
Right.
At the local cons.
It takes more time to like take boxes and boxes and boxes of back issues into these comic cons.
Even for like one in your backyard. Like I understand if you don't want to go to like Albany Con, right? You don't want to go to Albany.
Right. They should have shown. I mean, I get it.
I would think
hard work. It's easier for them to just buy a table and put a bunch of Pop Funkos and stuff like that.
That's what Play the Game Read. Actually, Play the Game Read the Story did a nice thing where they set up a board game borrow area. So they had board games for sale. And then they had some tables where you could play some board games. Retro Game Con was there, which is our Retro Game Con up here in Syracuse.
So they had a table kind of to promote the con.
They had like a little like ring of a couple old systems you can go.
That's what I'm liking. That good job, Syracuse. Good job.
So I feel like
multiple conventions talking to each other as opposed to being competition. They go, hey man, we're a small city. We should join forces together. Remember Game Over? What is it? What's the big game company? The Voltage. Voltage.
Voltage.
They were probably
Voltage
there.
might have been there. I didn't get to go. I did all the vendors, but I didn't get to spend more than a second or two at each one. and because our got bulleted vendors pretty fast. But again, I was looking for comic vendors specifically because I wanted to buy some Spider-Man comics for the kiddo. We got some Silk comics. Silk, pretty good. Yeah, at least we got some early issues of Silk, which was fun. But it was good, man. I if you're up here in the Syracuse area, it seems to be an every summer thing now, and that expo hall is fantastic in the summer because it is super air conditioned. So like
that's right, because it's not outdoors.
And it's not one of the old buildings that is like air conditioned, right? Like it's not. It's like, yeah, we got two in the back. They work fine. Don't worry about it. This one's like a modern, like designed to turn it into a hockey rink air conditioning. And it is spectacular. So like a July Saturday inside was I was like
nice 70 degrees.
It was like a nice like 68 degrees the whole time. Mm-hmm. And then when you go outside to get food, you eat outside and you're like, oh, it's so hot. You go back into the comics and you're like, oh, this is the best. It's the best way to spend a Saturday afternoon. And R had a great time because we had ice cream and all that stuff. So
man, I bet. No, absolutely. Does the wife ever partake in this, or are these daddy outings?
No, this is daddy daughter, and it's. Frankly, I look over just in case. It's also like a nice way to build capital, right? Give her the afternoon off, and then I get to do something I want to do. And
what is it? Daddy equity.
Daddy equity is a guy. I call it family capital, but yeah,
family capital, daddy equity. Yeah, it's a little bit of both, but yeah, mommy equity. Mommy gets she watches the kids all week, and then I watch them on the weekend, a little bit, and then take them somewhere, and that's how we kind of.
You kind of even it out. Yeah, you make that work. And I get to – the only sad part is that without her there, I don't get to do the sort of like schmoozing. I don't get to talk to the –
Right. So like there might be some like – and that's for things like that this is my guys, listen up. This is the way I would do it is I do it with the wife is we'll go, and she might not want to go to something like this, but we'll make sure that either we go out to eat somewhere nice or, we might hit up something that she might want to do in that whole like trip. So like,
so you bookend it.
I got to bookend it. Yeah, absolutely. So like, the kiddo is still doing everything with me. She tags along. She might not be completely.
And then you're like, wife, take this child so that I may.
It takes 10 to 15 minutes. Let me do this, and then the kid will off, and that's.
I'm gonna send her a survey and see if that's the actual way it works out for her.
Sure.
Because I know when I go, that's not the way it works out for me.
How's the so you did that for me? My kiddos they've been firing through. My kiddo is playing Mario Maker 2 right now.
Oh, nice!
He's running through that. He's made a couple levels for me. I got to sit down and play them. So that's kind of the fun part.
Good luck with that. I wanted to watch you stream that where you're like, but I can't make this jump, Connell. What's going on?
Yeah, he's totally the person that makes them all hard and stuff, and then he's like, "Gotta go," and then I'm like, "Did you publish it yet?" No. It's like, so if it's not published, that means you haven't run through it yourself. Because if you're not familiar with Mario Maker, is the level has to be complete. Yeah, it has to be. You have to play through it and complete it before it adds the final like button. You can still play through a level, but you play through edit mode, where you hit the select button, it freezes it and takes you back to edit.
Yeah.
But to like complete it and add it into like a completed level, you have to be able to pass it.
So good luck. I'm sure he's gonna laugh, right? That's gonna be the joke, because you're like, what, Connell? This is 42. I don't even know.
Why are there 42 Bowsers on this? Like, what's going on here? They all show up like, what is this? You didn't pass this.
I love Bowser.
Yeah, no, that's it for sure.
It's good. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, that's that our weekend was pretty chill, relaxed. I'll share some of the news on our end on our.
Oh yeah, let's wrap it up with the news.
I'll wrap it up with the news here. So we've been doing the show separate. We always do it. He's in Syracuse and I'm in Houston. But if you haven't known or follow my backstory of anything, both of our wives were in the same program at Syracuse, and so. Both of our spouses graduated and are doctors, and the wife is, even though you're not a doctor complete, you're still shopping yourself, kind of putting yourself up for a job and whatnot. And for the past few years, the wife has been applying, and anybody who listens to this that's in academia can know that academia is brutal.
Garbage.
Brutal garbage. And I think the wife had a hard time with it. And after about 3 years or so of her applying, she decided to apply not to academia, still teaching, but not academia, as just teaching at a private school. And sure enough, man, went through the interview process, and the interview process was a completely different animal than she had been through the academia. No jumping hoops and no dog and pony show. It was they actually treated her well and like paid
like a trained professional that's worth value.
Professional that's worth value. Yeah, like they were like, "We'll fly you down," and the wife was like, "I'm in Houston. I want to drive myself." And she's like, oh, "We'll pay for your hotel. You can't do that." So they paid for her hotel and took her out to dinner and
welcome.
Yeah, I know, that's right. And so after that, the interview went well enough that
they gave her an offer.
They gave her an offer finally, and so
good.
Congratulations! Coming because some references had been called, and the references then called her and were like, "Hey, we were just called from this," and then they messaged her right before the 4th of July and said, "Hey, can you give us information for your background check?" And we're like, "Okay, when you pay for a background check, that costs the company money." So
yeah.
So if you're paying they're committed. So we knew that we got the job, but they didn't tell us until Monday, which was yesterday, and we had to wait after the holiday because school was at a session on the 4th and the 5th. So no one was. And
they got a nice offer, good offer,
good offer with relocation.
Relo's nice.
Some relocation funds, so that'll help us kind of get there. And so we are now leaving the wonderful city of Houston, staying in the state of Texas. We wanted to go out of Texas. We don't know what the future holds in the long run.
Time for the downgrade.
Yeah, the downgrade is I am now in Dallas, and so Dallas.
So if you have a foam hat in the attic from the Cowboys, please send it to me or Joe
at P.O. Box. If you wanna show me a tape of the last time the Cowboys won, I'll buy a VHS player.
You actually need a VHS player to watch.
We can pop it in and we can watch the Cowboys win something. It's gonna be fun trolling, living in the Dallas area and being a fan and.
Yeah, dude, I'm ecstatic. I'm sad that you're not moving closer.
Well, you are 5 hours closer. 5 hours closer to the trip for sure.
It's not as far as I would like. Maybe I'll move 5 hours, and in 10 years we'll be in the same state.
We'll get there.
But Dallas, congratulations. Hello.
Yeah. So now this weekend comes the franticness of should we have to be there by August 10th, August 9th?
Oh wow. Well, Courtney has.
No, we're moving by then. We have to find a place. So we're driving up to Dallas this weekend, and we've got friends in Dallas. We've got a particular individual that is a real estate and he does rentals and all that kind of stuff. So we messaged him, and if he fired off by yesterday afternoon, we had 67 different houses ready to look at and go through. And so we're kind of making a list of what we like, don't like, price point, etc. And then we're going to put like 5 or 6 on the list, and he's going to go and show them to us on Sunday.
That's great, man. Good deal.
Find a place, put a deposit down, and then probably move in around the first area, the first of the month, and then have the next couple weeks to kind of put the house together.
You don't have to have all your shit packed because you can just come back and get it.
Yeah.
It's have the essentials ready to go in a month.
Still, it'll be one of those things where that pack the essentials up because whatever you leave here is 5 hours away. You don't have to come and get it. But
5 hours away in Texas is that's like a Texas.
No, that's like going to the gas station, right? Going down to DQ.
I mean, it's not exaggerated that you crazy MFers will drive 5 hours for the right queso. Like it's not.
No, you're absolutely right. If queso is that good, 5 hours is worth it.
5 hours is nothing. You're just doing it. You'll do that and eat the queso on the way back. Like, oh, this is totally worth it. Meanwhile, I'm all like, I don't want to drive 10 minutes anywhere.
Meanwhile, in your state, you ask them for queso, and they're like, "What?"
Yes.
I remember doing that. Walked into Tully's. And
dude, you're in a Tully's.
But they have everything. They have tacos. They have spaghetti. They have burgers. I'm like, what? Why wouldn't they have queso? But it was the way I asked as a good Texan. I was like, "Can I get a bowl of queso?" And they were like,
A bowl of what now?
What? Queso? I don't know what that is.
Let me get
And then the wife
from the
turns and
back.
goes, he wants a bowl of cheese. And we're like, oh, nacho cheese. Okay.
Oh, did they come back with a bowl of shredded cheese?
Oh
Is
my
that
God, it was a bowl of the worst, worst, watery, buttery, like weird. It was
a powder?
I cried. Like it was like I wanted to pull out my 45 as a good Texan and just shoot the bowl to put that in misery. Whatever you were not queso. You were not melted cheese. It was something.
You were suddenly a cowboy on the range, like New York City.
New York City. Get the rope. Yeah, no, totally.
So, I believe it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Syracuse is not a place that you ever want to go and get queso.
What's interesting is, there's been franchises now, right? There's places that sell this kind of stuff. Like, there's not a thing that you can't get anywhere you want. Like, for example, you guys have like Moe's, the burrito place.
Yeah,
and I know that they've got a pretty decently.
They've got a queso bowl.
A queso bowl of some sort.
I'm not a big fan of Moe's, but yeah.
Never mind. I never was. Also, I'm not a big fan of the naming. I like a Joey Homewrecker or whatever they call him, or the Joey Bag of Donuts, or whatever they call it. What is it? Just give me a burrito. Just call it a burrito. Why are you calling it? Why am I calling this burrito a bag of donuts? I don't understand. What is wrong with you? A terrible company.
It's bad enough I had to drive 8 minutes for this burrito.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like I've got to just to fact check myself. I have to look up this menu because it's the most ridiculous menu. Like
for the record, I think Joe hates everyone with two first names. He doesn't like Jimmy John's either.
Yeah, man.
Don't get him started on Jimmy John's.
Don't get me started on Jimmy John's. The home record, yeah. So their junior size burrito is literally called Joey Bag of Donuts.
Joey Bag of Donuts. There you go.
Joey Bag of Donuts, and then their big one, which is the size of a normal burrito at like any other burrito place like Chipotle, is called the home wrecker. So somehow a normal burrito is a home wrecker. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten at I mean, we ate at Moe's once, and that's
paid for it?
Huh? Paid
for it later, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's standard for all these chain burrito places, right? Moe's is good for it. Their salsa was pretty good, is what I remember.
They've got multiple.
Really going to town on their salsa
because it's free chips and salsa, if I remember correctly. There,
yeah. which is I have to say, if I'm having a true mid-geek crisis up here in Syracuse, it's that there is no good Mexican food. So that's really the
I remember
the most joyless part of
my dream while I lived there was to find a way to open some sort of Mexican food place because. My God, you think that there's bad Mexican, and then you move to Syracuse, and then you're like, oh my God,
it's mediocre. It's mediocre. I've had bad Mexican, and nothing up here is bad. It's just not good. It's just not good. That's all. Today I had dinosaur barbecue though, so that was good.
Oh, that's good. Was that a catered thing?
Catered, and that I splurged on lunch, and I can get a T&E since we have the guy from out of town training.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, you're right down the street from it too, right?
Yeah. So it was quick delivery and everything. So anyway, games.
All right, guys. Well, wrap it up. I will tell you that we will be back next week. I won't hold me on that one. I don't know what my plans are going to be, but the next 3 weeks are going to be whirlwind, and I'm going to attempt to not miss anything. I have a laptop. I can film from any point, any place. So don't worry about it, kiddos. We won't be amiss too long.
We're not going to intentionally miss a week. We may be late, but we're not going to miss a week.
We're not going to miss a week for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Guys, like, subscribe, share. But tell us what you think about if you're catching up on Stranger Things. We didn't talk about it this episode because
I've only seen one episode.
My buddy over here has only seen one episode, which is a fantastic episode, by the way. Go watch it.
Solid starter.
Please go watch it. We devoured it in a couple days. I say a couple days from the 4th on to yesterday. We finished it, and it was fantastic TV. I'd like to have a good discussion, a spoiler-filled discussion about it.
I know everyone I know has finished it, so I'm, as always, a week behind.
Absolutely, that's on brand.
On brand.
Guys, love you. Take care. Like, subscribe, share, comment. episode 37 in the can.
Take care of each other.